These are some things we've been made to feel like they're embarrassing, but they're really not. I even lit up a candle for this. Pooping in public bathrooms. Who made that embarrassing? Just imagine this. You're about to literally shit your pants and you're in public and you're just not gonna use the bathroom because it's embarrassing? No, it's not embarrassing. When you have to go, you have to go. You best believe that if I'm in school and I just can't hold it in anymore, I'm gonna go. Opening up a pad in a public bathroom. We're bleeding, and on top of everything, we're gonna be embarrassed about opening up a pad. Why? Next time you have to do that, just think about this video and just open that thing up with confidence. Walking past a group of people, this one really gets me. It doesn't matter if we're in school or in a grocery store, we're literally embarrassed to just walk. It's just walking. Can we collectively agree that this is not embarrassing? It's not. Raising your hand in class and getting the question wrong. You're trying your best and everyone makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. So just raise your hand and say whatever you have to say, because I promise you no one's gonna remember what you said in algebra freshman year. This blush matches my tank top perfectly. How cute. This is your sign to just take the word embarrassing out of your vocabulary, because if you think about it, something's only... Okay, that was loud. It's only embarrassing if you let it be, so just remove that word. Cut it out. Don't use it.
Get ready with me while I tell you about the things I used to do growing up with strict parents. A lot of parents tracked their kids, but I tracked my parents. Also, this is my first time using the NYX Born to Glow illuminator. We're gonna see what it looks like. Ooh, okay. Anyway, both of my parents own their own businesses, so that means they can close the store and come home whenever they wanted to. And for teenage Meggie, yeah, that was a big no-no. When I was 15, I searched up a YouTube video on how to track my parents. When they were in the shower, I went on their phone and I shared their location with myself, and then I deleted the messages. I wasn't allowed to hang out with anyone unless they were my best friend, so if I wanted to hang out with just a regular friend, I would go to their house, and if for some reason the tracking didn't work and my parents got home before me, I made sure to carry an athletic gym bag with a pair of gym clothes in there, and if they were to come home and I were to see their car in the driveway, I would go change in the woods near my house and just say that I was on a run. This only happened once and I still got in trouble somehow. I had a BF in high school, so whenever I wanted to hang out with him, go over his house, I would tell my parents that I was in the library, you know, studying for a test. I wasn't studying for a test. Some of you already know this, but I wasn't allowed to wear makeup, so I made sure I was stocked up on a bunch of colored pencils. Okay, hear me out. At the bus stop, I would wet my colored pencils and then do my makeup. Picasso over here. Before I tracked my parents, I would call them while they were at work asking just like a random question. I would be like, oh, my leg hurts for some weird reason. When are you gonna be home? You know, just to get my answers, and I needed to know. Hanging out with people would be really hard when my parents were home, obviously, so I would tell my parents I was going on a long walk while I would be meeting up with my friends at the park near my house. I honestly had a lot of nerve as a kid. They're not really strict anymore, so I don't really need to track them. I also wasn't really allowed to leave my house growing up, so if I wanted to go to the mall with my friends, I would make sure I looked like the opposite gender. I would put my hair in a bun, sweats, hood up. I had to. I couldn't risk anyone knowing my parents and then telling them that they saw me out the house. Also, for those wondering, my parents are Albanian. I'm Albanian. I don't blame them. They just didn't understand the culture over here. They definitely calmed down when I was in college, but high school, it was an adventure. Okay, my makeup is done. I am gonna go to work, and today we're finalizing the website for Raven's Nest, which is my new boutique. Excited is definitely an understatement. Love you.
My mom is 100% my biggest help. I'm leaving the house this morning to go to school, and my mom tells me she has to come to my school at 10 o'clock for a meeting about my attendance. And I notoriously leave school, okay? I hate that place. I would much rather be at home. So, and she's gotten calls from my counselor and teachers in the past about my attendance. So I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be bad. And naturally, I spend the rest of the day stressed the fuck out. Scared, worried, what are they saying? Literally shitting my pants the entire day. I had then asked my mom if she could pick up my Starbucks and drop it off at the school, because there's a Starbucks right next to my school. And she was like, okay, I'll do that when I'm out of this meeting. And I was like, okay. So I keep texting her. I'm like, are you out of the meeting yet? Are you still in the meeting? Again, still fully thinking that they are just sitting in there talking about my attendance. And then finally at 1 o'clock, she gets out of this meeting. She had been there since 10 a.m. And she goes and picks up my Starbucks, whatever, and I get it from her. And I'm like, what happened? Like, what did they say? And she's kind of like laughing. And I'm like, well, wasn't it about me? And she looks at me, she goes, no, I was kidding. Girl had me stressed the entire day thinking that I was about to like get in so much trouble for my attendance when she was just joking. What the fuck? Literally had me scared for my life. Horrified, terrified of what was gonna happen. Bitch walked the prank on me. Another example of her being an op, there's this guy that she really wants me to date. Not only did she tell this guy's mom that she thinks we should date, we are at my house, the girlies, getting ready for a function last weekend. We were all sitting on my bed, just kind of chit-chatting. My mom walks into the room and goes, Adia, is so-and-so gonna be there tonight? And I'm like, girl, like, I've told her on numerous occasions that I don't like him, like, so many times. Literally says that in front of all my friends. Is he gonna be there tonight? What the fuck? She then proceeds to tell me that she's probably gonna see him the next day and that she's going to tell him to ask me out. Thankfully, she did not end up actually seeing him or telling him to ask me out, but just the principle of the situation. Girl, what are you doing? She also aired me out at family dinner. We had family dinner with my sister and her boyfriend and, like, you know, the family. And she starts bringing up this guy, asking about him, saying, like, if we're gonna hang out soon. And I'm like, how many times do I have to tell this woman I don't want this man? Like, I just don't want him. So now I'm wondering, like, has she given this man some ideas that I want him? Like, what has she been saying to him? I'm just scared, okay? I just, like, don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of my mother's actions here. Brooke is here in the background. She's really enjoying this podcast-esque. Say hi.
Hi, guys.
This poses a problem because I tell my mom everything, okay? Clearly, because she knows this much. And sometimes she runs with it. She runs with it and she goes far. She does miles with it. She does laps, okay? She runs a 10K with this information. I mean, don't get me wrong. I fucking love my mom. It's just like, could you not be my number one op at all times? At the end of the day, I've just had to learn that a Slavic mother is always gonna be stirring the motherfucking pot, okay? She gets it from my grandma. My grandma would be doing the same shit. Like, I swear my mother is the sole reason I don't give a fuck about any of my, like, actual ops. Because I'm like, whatever you're saying will never compete to what my mother's doing. And, you know, my mom and I are the same person. So, like, would I do the same thing when I have children? Yes, I will. No op will ever scare me. All thanks to my mother.
Okay, the creepiest thing just happened to me, and I need to tell you about it right now because it just happened to me and I'm kind of scared. Okay, so anytime a brand sends me things that are like really special or random, like a water bottle or like something just random, I'll keep it as a keepsake in my room. So like sweatshirts I have hanging up, like water bottles, I've gotten wine glasses, like I keep them hanging up. I don't use them because they just feel so sentimental to me. I'm very aware of this job being crazy, so I think it's cool. Anyways, I've kept this water bottle, and I'm not going to say what brand sent it to me, but I kept this water bottle on a shelf over there, which is now cleaned out because I changed the shelf around. I kept it there for like the past 8 months, right? The past like maybe like 6 months. I haven't touched it, I haven't used it, but I was gonna go clean it out so I could use it because it's a water bottle. I want to use it, and I'm changing the room around a little bit. Also, another backstory, I am terrified of having stalkers. I've had so many stalkers in my life. I've had like 3 separate stalkers where it's gotten weird, but I have had one specific stalker that stalked me for like 6 years. I did an entire story time on him, so if you want to watch that, that is existing somewhere in the universe. That video went viral, so if you know that story time and you followed me from that story time, cool, good, you know about him. So I'm always very weary about stalkers. Anyways, I open up this water bottle to go clean it, right? And sitting inside is a note on receipt paper that says Cassie Hart and a raw lighter. This raw lighter. What is it? What is this? Mind you, the brand that sent me this isn't like loving the idea of smoking, right? So what the fuck is this? And it's used. It's so obviously used. It's so gross. And it's like a Christmas edition. Stinky, nasty, someone's used stinky lighter. Cassie, who are you? Why did you put this in my water bottle? My first thought was, oh my God, someone snuck in my house and is trying to mess with me and like knew that I'd go through that. Maybe they thought I used this and it was just sitting there. So like I would pick this up eventually and use it and find this. Okay, that was my first thought. I was like, oh my God, there's a stalker. And then I'm like, I really hope that this is just sent from the manufacturer, but even that's weird. Even that is so weird. Like whoever sent me this package, like put this in there? Cassie. So if you're Cassie and you came across this water bottle and you put it in here, please tell me right now, why? Did you come in my house? Or did you do this at the manufacturer? I don't know what's going on.
One thing I've always said is like, you shouldn't meet your idols. A lot of my favorite influencers ended up being the rudest people I've ever met in my entire life. Even the ones that you think like, nah, they can't be rude. Like they're so nice. The ones that I had the worst experience with were the ones that I was like, oh, there's no way they're rude in person. Cause they just seem so authentic and nice. Nope. I don't want to
want to generalize, so I'm not talking about everybody, but a lot of the rudest influencers I've met were like influencers who were like part of like the beauty community, like the tutorial teaching how to do makeup. Like, I don't know what it is. They're just, a lot of them are really rude. I thought it was just me, but then I talked to like my other influencer friends, and there was like certain influencers that we both met that we thought would be really nice, and they're like beauty influencers, and they were not nice. I also noticed that they're kind of like weirdly gatekeepy. Like whenever I meet beauty influencers, if I have like makeup questions, like that's like, I'm like, this is my moment to shine, I gotta ask them now, this is the best person to ask. And they'll like give me super vague answers or just make me feel like I'm stupid for even asking. And it's like, girl, I could scroll through your TikTok right now and find the answer to my question. Like, what are we hiding? I love winged eyeliner, okay? Like back in high school, I was constantly wearing a winged eyeliner or whatever, and it worked perfectly for me. Nowadays, when I do like a winged eyeliner, I don't know why, it just like smears, smudges, transfers all the time. And I'm using the same eyeliner, the same brand as I did when I was in high school, so I don't know what's the difference now. I mean, I asked so many fucking beauty influencers this question, and one girl was like, you have to use waterproof eyeliner, and I'm like, mine is waterproof. Like, oh, okay, then it's just gonna be like that. Like, you just have to accept it. Like, girl, shut the fuck up. I know yours doesn't, and I know you wouldn't accept it if it was smudging. Another girl, I'd really bonded with her, and like, I thought we were like friends because of how much we talked and bonded. And then I texted her being like, hey girl, like, do you have any tips to like not have my eyeliner transfer? She just never answered me. Can someone just tell me, please? I just want to be able to do winged eyeliner again without it transferring and ruining my life.
Things that influencers do that give me the ick. When some influencers bash like a brand that sends them PR. Like if a brand is nice enough to you to reach out and give you things from their own company, you don't have to be like, oh, I hate this product. You can just be like, oh, this product didn't work out for me. They'll literally be like, oh, this brand sucks, I'm never using it again. Just because it didn't work for you doesn't mean it doesn't work for other people. Influencers don't respond back to other comments. Like, I understand when you avoid the comments because some of them can be mean, but you can at least reply to the good ones. Influencers have a fake personality online. I've seen some influencers be the nicest people online, then when you like meet them in real life, they're like so mean. Yeah, I like tried to justify some of their actions, like maybe they're just not in the rude, but like I've seen so many videos of like influencer who's just like really mean. Influencers who complain about their jobs, like I get it's stressful sometimes, but I absolutely love doing what I do. Like meeting everyone is just such an amazing experience. Influencers that get mad at other influencers for making the same video as them. Like, TikTok is constantly full of inspirations, and I would be happy if someone took inspo from my video and did their own. Lastly, this is not more of like an ick, it's more of a personal preference. Like influencers who only post like once a week. Like I love watching like certain influencers videos and they post like once a week. I get so sad. Another one is influencers who lie about products. Like if you're going to be an influencer, make sure you at least use the products or know about the products before giving false information to your followers. And those are all my personal icks. Let me know if I should make another video. Bye guys.
If you didn't get invited, don't show up. Get ready with me while I tell you the time I had to confront and kick out an old friend from my house. We're gonna call this old friend Alyssa. We stopped now, but almost every year for my brother's and I's birthday, we would always have a party with grupo and we would invite a lot of friends and family. That year, very last minute, one of my brothers decided that he wanted to have a party. Since it wasn't my party, my brother was asking me and my other brother who it is that we are inviting. That way we have like count for food, beverages, grupo, and all of that. My brother kindly asked that we only invite people who are not drama because we've had a lot of parties at my parents' house where there always ends up being drama, especially if there's alcohol involved or if there's like certain people who don't like each other attending the same event. Y'all, I nearly almost forgot to apply some concealer. What the heck? At this point, my older brother starts to read the little roster that he made for the people that he invited, and the moment he named one specific guy, I was like, oh, I'm not inviting this girl. Obviously at this girl we named her Alyssa. The only reason I mentioned that if this one guy friend is getting invited, we definitely shouldn't invite Alyssa because Alyssa and this guy have history, they're exes. As her friend, I already know how she can be, especially with alcohol, so I just much rather avoid any drama or any potential fights and arguments, especially because this is my brother's birthday party, not mine. So now it's the day of the party that my brothers and I have been planning for a couple of weeks now. We are, I want to say like 2 or 3 hours into the party, and someone comes up to me, I don't remember who it was, but someone comes up to me and says, hey, did you invite Alyssa and her cousins? And I was like, no, we basically made sure that if we were inviting her ex, that she wasn't gonna show up. Or if I were to invite her, then we would make sure her ex wouldn't be there. The person who basically came to tell me if I had invited the girls responds back to me and says, the only reason I'm asking is because they're here. And I was like, what? Who invited them? And they were like, well, apparently not you, apparently not your brothers, and apparently not your parents. And I was like, so if they didn't get invited, why are they here? Like, I ended up getting up from the table and I started to walk in their direction, and they still hadn't sat down. They were basically on the side of the house, which is where the entrance for the party was. I went up to them, I said hi, and honestly I just kept my cool. Like, I wasn't upset. It was just more the fact that I had to respect my brother's decision, and my brother wanted to invite his guy friend because obviously it's his birthday. The thing here, guys, is if she knew how to put whatever they had going on to the side, there would definitely be no issue if they both were at the party. Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of the time that I had to confront and kick out an old friend from my house. So at this point, I, and whoever she was here with, I think it was like her cousin and another girl, I basically, in telling them, I'm like, hey, I don't mean to be a bitch, but you didn't get invited. I know I could have said it in a nicer way now looking back at it, but one thing about me is I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you, and if you didn't get invited because other people didn't want you to, then I'm just gonna let you know. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. Like, it is what it is. Alyssa responds back to me and she says, well, girl, technically we did get invited. And I was like, oh, okay, by who? She says, we got invited by one of your brother's friend's girlfriend. And I looked at her and I was like, she's not the owner of the house. She's technically a guest also. I respond back and I was like, look, I'm not trying to make this a big deal. You guys didn't get invited. And my dad tries to come over here to like ease the conversation. And there was nothing going on between her and I. But right away they were like, oh, like they said my dad's name, and I just tried to get them away from my dad because my dad is a very sweet person, and I know that they're just gonna try to butter him up and, you know, take advantage of him, and I was not up for it. Like, dude, obey my brothers and I rules. Simple. Lisa then says, well, technically we just came to pick her up because we're going to another party. And I was like, oh, well, that's fine, you can go and wait for her outside. And she was like, why can't we just stay in here? And I was like, you guys didn't get invited. I was like, these are not my rules. I am just obeying the rules. I was like, if it was for me, you guys can go and sit at a table, but because these are my brother's rules, I'm going to listen to him. I was like, and if you guys can't respect that, I was like, then you guys just like need to leave. They finally decide to walk away and they're calling me all of these names. And keep in mind, I'm keeping it cool because I still consider you my friend. It just so happened that it wasn't my party and my brother wanted to invite this guy and he just didn't want you to be there. That's it. I ended up sitting back down at the table, and a couple minutes later, one of my friends comes up to me and goes, look at this tweet. I don't remember exactly the words that the tweet says, but it was something along the lines of, some people are rude, they're funny, they're fake. And I was like, oh my god, like, you really had to go on social media and put this out there? Like, just be a fucking adult about it and accept the fact that you didn't get invited. What makes all of this funny is, if you scroll down a couple more tweets, she literally tweeted a couple days ago saying, if you didn't get invited to a party, do not invite yourself. And I'm like, bro, just take your own advice. They ended up cutting me off. I didn't even care to fight for the friendship because it was so petty and not worth it. Yeah, that's the end of my story time. Bye.